Hey, hello, shalom. Welcome to day 58 of the Daily Bread. We'll be reading in Exodus chapter 19, 1 Samuel 19, Psalms 63, Proverbs 27, and Luke 7. Okay, let's get to it. We'll be reading from the scriptures, 2009. Exodus 19 on page 77. In the third new moon, after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mizraim, on this day they came to the wilderness of Sinai. For they set out from Rephidim and had come into the wilderness of Sinai and camped in the wilderness. So Israel camped there before the mountain. And Moshe went up to Elohim, and Yahweh called to him from the mountain and said, "This is what you are to say to the house of Jacob, and declare to the children of Israel. You have seen what I did to the Mizraimites, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. And now if you diligently obey my voice, and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a reign of priests and a set-apart nation. Those are the words which you are to speak to the children of Israel." And Moshe came and called for the elders of the people, and set before them all the words which Yahweh commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, "All that Yahweh has spoken we shall do." So Moshe brought back the words to the people to Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "See, I'm coming to you in a thick cloud, so that the people hear when I speak with you, and believe you forever." And Moshe reported the words to the people of Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Go to the people and set them apart today and tomorrow, and they shall wash their garments, and they shall be prepared by the third day. For on the third day Yahweh shall come down upon Mount Zion before the eyes of all the people, and you shall make them a border to the people all around, saying, Take heed to yourselves that you do not go up to the mountain or touch the border of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall certainly be put to death. Not a hand is to touch it, but he shall certainly be stoned or shot with an arrow, whether a man or beast, he shall not live. When the yobel, animal horn, ram's horn, sounds long, a shofar, let them come near the mountain." And Moshe came down from the mountain to the people, and set the people apart, and they washed their garments. And he said to the people, "Be prepared by the third day, do not come near a wife." And it came to be on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightning, and a thick cloud on the mountain, and a voice from a shofar. Was very strong, and all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moshe brought the people out of the camp to meet Elohim, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. And Mount Zion was in smoke, all of it, because Yahweh descended upon it in fire. And smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace, and all the mountain trembled exceedingly. And when a voice of the shofar sounded long and became very strong, Moshe spoke, and Elohim answered him by voice. And Yahweh came down upon Mount Zion on top of the mountain. And Yahweh called Moshe to the top of the mountain. And Moshe went up. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Go down and warn the people, lest they break through unto Yahweh to see, and many of them fall. And let the priests come near Yahweh, set themselves apart too, lest Yahweh breaks out against them." And Moshe said to Yahweh, the people are not able to come up to Mount Zion. For you warned us, saying, make a border around the mountain and set it apart. And Yahweh said to him, come, go down, and then come up, you and Aaron with you. But do not let the priests and the people break through to come up to Yahweh, lest he break out against them. And Moshe went down to the people and spoke to them. End of Exodus 19. 1 Samuel 19 on page 301. And Shaul spoke to Jonathan, his son, and to all his servants to put David to death. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted in David, much in David. And Jonathan declared to David, saying, my father Saul seeks to put you to death. Now please be on your guard until morning, and dwell in secrecy, and hide. And I myself shall go out and stand beside my father in the field where you are, and speak with my father about you, and shall see, and shall let you know. And Jonathan spoke well of David and Shaul his father, and said to him, let not the sovereign sin against his servant, against David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his works have been very good towards you. For he took his life in his hands and struck the Philistines, and Yahweh wrought a good deliverance for all of Israel. You saw it and rejoiced. Why then do you sin against David, against innocent blood, to put David to death without cause? And Shaul listened to the voice of Jonathan, and Shaul swore, as Yahweh lives, he does not die. Jonathan then called David, and Jonathan told him all the words. So Jonathan brought David to Shaul, and he was in his presence before. And there was fighting again. And David went out and fought with the Philistines and struck them, a great slaying. They fled before him. And an evil spirit from Yahweh came upon Shaul and sat in his house with a spear in his hand, and David was playing the lyre with his hand. And Shaul sought to strike the spear through David and into the wall, but he slipped away from the presence of Shaul. So he struck the spear in the wall, and David fled and escaped that night. And Shaul sent messengers to David's house to watch him and to put him to death in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, informed him, saying, if you do not save your life tonight, tomorrow you are put to death. So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped. And Michal took the household idol and laid it in the bed, and put a cover of goat's hair on its head, and covered it with a garment. And when Shaul sent messengers to take David, she said, he is sick. And Shaul sent the messengers back to see David, saying, bring him up to me in bed to put him to death. And the messengers came in and saw the household idol in the bed with a cover of goat's hair on his head. Shaul then said to Michal, why have you deceived me like this and sent my enemy away so that he escapes? And Michal answered Shaul, he said to me, let me go. Why should I put you to death? Now David fled and escaped and went to Samuel and Ramham and told him all that Shaul had done to him. And he and Samuel went and dwelt in Nari. And it was reported to Shaul, saying, see, David is in Nari and Ramam. And Shaul sent messengers to take David. And they said the assembly of the prophets prophesying, and Samuel standing as leader over them, and the spirit of Elohim came upon the messengers of Shaul, and they also prophesied. And when Shaul was told, he sent other messengers, and they prophesied likewise. So Shaul sent messengers again, a third time, and they also prophesied. Then he himself went to Ramon and came to the great well that is in Shemek, in Shiku, and asked, where was Samuel and David? And they said, they're, they are in Nawi and Ramon. So he went to Nawi and Ramon, and the spirit of Elohim was upon him too, and he went on and prophesied until he came to Nawi and Ramon. He also stripped off his garments and prophesied before Samuel, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Therefore they say, is Shaul also among the prophets? Psalm 63 on page 680. O Elohim, you are my El. I earnestly seek you. My being has thirst for you. My flesh has longed for you. In a dry and thirsty land without water. Therefore I have had a vision of you in a set apart place to see your power and your esteem, because your loving commitment is better than life. My lips do praise you. Therefore I bless you while I live. In your name I lift up my hands. My being is satisfied with the marrow and fat. My mouth praises you with singing lips. When I remember you on my bed, I meditate on you in the night watches. For you have been my help. In the shadow of your wings I sing. My being has closely followed you. Your right hand did uphold me. But those who seek to destroy my life go into the lower parts of the earth. They are handed over to the power of the sword. They become a portion of jackals. But let the sovereign rejoice in Elohim. Let everyone who swears by him exult. For the mouth of those speaking lies is stopped. Proverbs 27 on page 753. Do not boast of tomorrow, for you do not know what a day brings forth. Let another man praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger and not your own lips. A stone is heavy and sand is weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than both. Wrath is cruel and displeasure overwhelming, but who is able to stand before jealousy? Open reproof is better than hidden love. The wounds of a loved one are true, but the kisses of an enemy are profuse. One satisfied loathes with the honey, but to a hungry one any bitter food is sweet. Like a bird that wanders from its nest, so is a man who wanders from his place. Ointment and perfume gladden the heart, so one's counsel is sweet to his friend. Do not forsake your own friend or your father's friend, and do not go into your brother's house in the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor nearby than a brother far away. My son, be wise and gladden my heart, that I might have a word for him who reproaches me. A clever man foresees calamity, hides himself. The simple shall go on. They are punished. Take the garment of him who is a guarantor for a stranger, and for a strange woman pledge it. He who greets his friend loudly early in the morning shall have it reckoned to him as a curse. Drops that never cease on a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. Whoever represses her represses the wind, and his right hand encounters oil. Iron is sharpened by iron, and a man sharpens the face of his friend. He who tends the fig tree eats its fruit, and he who guards his master is esteemed, glorified. As water face reflects face, so a man's heart reflects a man. Sheol and destruction are not satisfied, so the eyes of man are not satisfied. A refining pot is for silver, and a furnace for gold. So a man is tried by his praise. Even if you pound the fool in the mortar with a pestle along with crushed grain, his folly shall not leave him. Know well the state of your flocks. Set your heart to your herds. For riches are not forever, nor indeed them to all generations. Grass vanishes and new grass appears, and the vegetation on the mountains is gathered in. The lambs are for your garments, and the goats for the price of a field, and goat's milk enough for food, and food for your household, and sustenance for your girls. Luke 7 on page 991. And when he completed, Yeshua, his words in the hearing of the people, he went to Capharnaum, and a certain captain's servant, who was valuable to him, was sick and about to die. And hearing that Yeshua had sent elders to the Judean to him, asking him to come and heal his servant. Let me start over. Luke 7. And when he completed all his words in the hearing of the people, he went into Capharnaum. And a certain captain's servant, who was valuable to him, was sick and about to die. And hearing about Yeshua, he sent elders of the Judean to him, asking him to come and heal his servant. And when they came to Yeshua, they begged him earnestly, saying, He is worthy for you to grant this to him. For he loves our nation and has built the congregation for us. So Yeshua went with them. However, he was not far from the house when the captains sent friends to him, saying to him, Master, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy that you should come under my roof. For this reason I did not even think myself worthy to come to you. But say a word, and my servant shall be healed. For I, too, am appointed under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to one, Go, and he goes, and another, Come, and he comes, and to my servant, Do this, and he does it. And when Yeshua heard this, he marveled at him, and turned around and said to the crowd that followed him, I say to you, not even in Israel have I found such great belief. And those who were sent, returning to the house, found the servant who had been sick in good health. And it came to be in the next day that he went into the city of Naim, and many of his taught ones went with him, and a large crowd, and see, he had come near the gate of the city, and a dead man had been carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow. And a large crowd from the city was with her. And when the master saw her, he had compassion on her, and said to her, Do not weep. And coming near, he touched the briar, and those bearing it stood still. And he said, Young man, I say to you, arise. And he who was dead sat up and began to speak. And he gave him to his mother. And fear seized all, and they praised Elohim, saying, A great prophet has been raised among us. Elohim has visited his people, and his news about him went out into all Judah and all the neighborhood. And the taught ones of John reported to him all about this. And John the Baptist, calling to his taught ones near, sent to Yeshua, saying, You are the coming one, or should we look for another? And coming to him, the men said, John the Immerser, the Baptist, has sent us to you, saying, Are you the coming one, or should we look for another? And in the same hour he healed many of diseases and afflictions and wicked spirits, and he gave sight to many blind ones. And Yeshua answering said to them, Go, report to John what you have seen and heard. Blind receive sight, lame do walk, lepers are cleansed, deaf do hear, dead are raised. The good news is brought to the poor. And blessed is he who shall not stumble in me. And when the messengers of John had left, he began to speak to the crowds concerning John. What did you go into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken by the wind? What do you go out to see? A man dressed in soft garments? Look, those who are splendidly dressed and living in luxury are in the houses of the sovereigns. But what do you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I say to you, and more than a prophet. This is he concerning whom has it been written. See, I send my messenger before your face, who shall prepare your way before you. Malachi 3:1. For I say to you, among those born of women, there is not a greater prophet than John the Immerser. But he who is least in the reign of Elohim is greater than he. And all the people, even the tax collectors, when they heard, declared Elohim righteous, having been immersed with the immersion of John. But the Pharisees and those who learned in the Torah rejected the counsel of Elohim for themselves, not having been immersed by him. And the master said, To what then shall I compare the men of this generation, that they are like? What they are like? They are like children sitting in the marketplace and calling to each other, saying, We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We lamented for you, and you did not weep. For John the Immerser came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and you say he has a demon. The son of Adam has come eating and drinking, and you say, Look, a man, a glutton and a wine drinker, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. And wisdom is declared right by all her children. One of the Pharisees asked him to eat with him, and he went into the Pharisee's house and sat down to eat. And see, a woman in the city who was a sinner, when she knew that Yeshua sat at the table of the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster flask of perfume. And standing behind at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears, and wiping them with the hair of her head. And she kissed his feet and anointed them with the perfume. And when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he spoke to himself, saying, This one, if he were a prophet, would know who and what kind of woman this is who is touching him, for she is a sinner. And Yeshua answering said to him, Shimon, I have somewhat to say to you. And he said, Teacher, say it. A certain creditor had 2 debtors. One owed 500 denarii and another 50. And when they were unable to repay, he forgave them both. Which of them then shall love him more? And Shimon answering said, I suppose the one who he forgave more. And he said to him, You have rightly judged. And turning to the woman, he said to Shimon, Do you see this woman? I came into your house. You gave me no water for my feet, but she has wetted my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair on her head. She gave me no kiss, but she has not ceased to kiss my feet since the time I came in. You did not anoint my head with oil, but she anointed my feet with perfume. Therefore I say to you, her many sins have been forgiven, because she loved very much. To whom little is forgiven, he loves little. And he said to her, Your sins have been forgiven. And those who were sitting at the table with him began to say among themselves, Who is this who even forgives sins? And he said to the woman, Your belief has saved you. Go in peace. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible and talk to the Father.